Sing Sing is a new film starring Colman Domingo as Divine G, a man falsely imprisoned at Sing Sing Correctional Facility, who, while fighting for his release, is also participating in a theater group that is part of the programs at the prison. It's a really interesting film, a pretty special movie about the relationship between art and healing and the things that we can find out about ourselves through involvement in the arts, the potential for rehabilitation through the arts. It's also a movie that I think a lot of people have been touting as like one of the really more impactful, emotional films that we've seen through the festival circuit. This premiered first back at TIFF last year.
They were having spiritual experiences with this movie.
Yeah, and
It's good for a TIFF crowd.
It made its way here to South by Southwest, where we were lucky enough to catch a late screening.
Yes.
They added a buzz screening just for us.
They did. It was just for us.
Just for the three of us.
Yeah.
So we have caught up with this new film. But what was your reaction seeing Sing Sing here at South by?
It was one of the most anticipated ones that I had because everyone who caught it here was like, oh yeah, this is easily the best of the fest. And I'm like, if I'm going to miss it at a second festival.
Our buddy Mirjani, who was on the
Roadhouse?
Oscars recap, I think said it was, if not his best, his second favorite here at the festival.
He was like, if you see Sing Sing, you're going to cry. And Lena was crying throughout the entire movie. Most of my row was crying throughout the entire movie. And I thought it was a really solid film. We also, as a group, have seen a lot of these type of movies. And then it turned out all the movies I was thinking of,
They made.
it's the team. It's the whole filmmaking team. A couple of years ago, Jockey had premiered at
TIFF.
Sundance.
Sundance.
I think it even won.
Yeah, I think it was virtual Sundance.
Yeah, virtual.
It was virtual
It was
Sundance. I think it won a pretty big award, if I'm not
did,
mistaken. Either acting or the big one, and that was one where they used rehabilitation of through horses. Mustang was another one that I think she said she was on.
Yeah, she did.
Where it was through horses, and then Bull was another one that was at South by, where it was rehabilitation through bulls, and all this idea of you using these animals, and that ended up being the inception of this movie.
It's almost like the
dogs,
healing power of craft, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
and
I
care.
am for.
And
Look,
having to care for something.
Hey, putting it to you this way, we're gonna have to repeat it again when we talk about our doubles and what the year was. This year was therapy. From all of the movies that we saw, the comedies, the action movies, therapy was a big through line for like well over 50% of these movies. And I think the way that they use it here was pretty profound. I'm not sure if it's going to hit for everyone who's already seen these types of movies, because they kind of get the bits of it. You know, you're seeing him be in jail and have to go through clemency, and it's like, oh
That's kind of where I was at.
we have so many iconic movies with that we have seen as a group that we know about this, but maybe someone hasn't seen Shawshank. They don't know Red's journey here. Is this going to be their Red's journey?
Clemency,
exactly.
Clemency, another one as well. And you know what? They do everything great there. To me, I was like, I'm comparing it to a lot of the movies that I've seen, and I think it fits there perfectly. I probably would give it an extra star if it was the first time I had seen this type of story. But it makes sense that it comes from the group that did this whole bunch. The Runaway Hit, you already know it. It's Colman.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Colman is like worth the price of admission. I mean, I think he's probably one of the better actors that we have.
Hey, absolutely.
Generally, just better actors we have right now, period.
Yeah, from top down.
And that'd be more than enough.
The liquid voice, but then he's got the talent to back it up.
There's a shot that they have of him, and it's from really far away, and I'm like, no, you need that close up. And the camera gets close.
They bring it in.
Yes.
He's got one of our great movie faces right now.
Easily.
So you
He
can
does.
hold on an extreme close up and he will make
anything.
it
His
powerful.
eyes, his lips, all
Yeah,
of it.
everything. He sells it.
And this is also a great role for him because it is so much about acting, about putting on a performance, about how you're presenting yourself to the world and how you carry yourself, how you carry burdens.
Yes.
And so he really does the most with it. We are coming off a year where he just got nominated for Rustin. This is a better performance than the one that he had in Rustin. So I think we can start our like super early Oscar predictions.
They got the Oscar original song as well.
This one feels pretty confident.
So I think like a lot of how far this movie is going to take you is really how much you connect with that Colman Domingo performance. But I think the movie around it is a bit simple, and that's maybe something that I wasn't as expecting as much because the story is really kind of backgrounded in favor of character. I do enjoy that,
which is what I like.
Normally I do.
That's what you mean.
They really, rather than kind of like give you like a plot where you're wondering the next turn of events, it's really just following them through the production of this play that's entirely run by these inmates. You have a
self-written,
self-written and stuff. So there's a lot of charming
5 genres in it.
Yeah, just the wild
it's
stuff.
funny because it's got this kind of like almost like high school theater quality production too, because they're not taking it as seriously as like the pros might, but they're really doing the craft. And I think where this movie's power comes from is taking all these people who are considered kind of like the outcasts or outskirts of society, the downtrodden who are behind bars, and allowing them this opportunity to be vulnerable in a way that's counter to what you expect of the prison experience. Yeah. I think we saw a very similar situation with my favorite documentary of the year so far, Daughters out of Sundance, where you see these inmates who are doing a daddy-daughter dance, and
that's a double feature right there.
They're given a chance to sort of like open up a part of themselves that they keep hidden because of their experiences, because of their surroundings.
Yeah.
So there is a real like power in it. I don't know. I guess I wish they dove in more into some more characters.
I agree.
It really ends up being about this relationship, a really beautifully told relationship between, somewhat confusingly, the Divine G character played by Colman Domingo and then Divine I. A really, really
Clarence Macklin, who I thought was incredible.
Absolutely incredible in the film.
I think I agree with what you're saying about it being simplistic, because what they end up doing is making this therapy session that they went through in this program go full circle, because now they're in the movie.
Yeah.
There are actors in the film, but a majority of the cast
are playing themselves.
Or a version
at least, the same
people
names.
who were a part of this program, and
they're selling it.
They are selling it, because they were saying in the Q&A, these aren't non-actors. They're also not in prison anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
But they did go through that classical training, and now they're out there.
Yeah.
They were able to use this program to be in tune with their emotions, which was the beautiful part of it. It's a program that allows people who are usually just immediately getting mad or immediately starting trouble, you're taking a breath and understanding why they feel what they feel. There's a line that one of the characters gives, who also played by a real person playing himself. He says, we're trying to tap into realities that are not given to us
here. That are not afforded to us here.
And that's not just a play, that's this movie.
He was exactly who I was thinking of.
Yeah, a lot of what the director said he was approaching, because he says, I only know prison from what I see in film, so what am I seeing here? Like, what can I do here to showcase something that, what they rehabilitate with pets? I never see that. I was like, I can't believe that there's beauty in a place that we all know as being broken. And you see it too, so many times, right? Cellmates with nothing there. No, they show you. They have a bunch of stuff.
They do.
And weekly, monthly, they come in and ruin it all, and he's got to step it back up. It felt like more of a more in tune into what prisons are really like right now than the scary images you may have seen in other narratives.
Yeah,
and
especially
it still
since
takes
it was
leaps, though.
where it's maximum security. Those movies usually, like, you can't walk 2 feet without somebody like trying to like to kill you or attack you, and
we all think of prison in that way. But here was a very interesting dynamic that he had with everybody who was there, and it really is a movie about these two guys, Clarence and Divine G. Who the real Divine G is in the movie. He's the one who comes out later.
Yeah.
These guys will do scenes, and you're like, I don't know if you're acting. I don't know if you're telling a true story. I just know, like, you're almost about to get a tear out of me.
Well, that's the thing about this movie, and I think it is a really special production.
Yeah.
We have to emphasize that, because the director talked about this in some of the Q&As, in that there were scenes that they had set up, and then they sort of gave the actors a prompt and asked them to just respond. They would set up the character.
Really good direction, I think.
Yeah, and it lends this authenticity to the experience, right? Because not only are these people who have the lived experience of the characters they're portraying, but are then communicating in a way that, like, we wouldn't be able to communicate those thoughts.
They're acting, but also kind of telling a true story of what happened to them after prison.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, what better way to capture that in a fictional story than fictionally real?
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was beautiful in that sense. And I can't argue about it not being simplistic and just the day ins and day outs of, like, my parole's coming up, right? Let's practice some stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really in their relationships, because the two of them with Clarence and, what's his name's character?
Coleman's
character. Like, what they're building with each other is, like, he's trying to make him understand that there's a different path. You don't have to be this label that they've already put upon you. And the beauty of teaching somebody so that they can hopefully return it back to you is, like, the main message of any prison reform movie possible. And I think they knocked it out of the park for that. They said they were going to extend it and try to be this whole thing for prisons. They talked about the equal... They all own the movie? I don't know anything about that, bro. I know Air was trying to do that stuff as well.
Yeah, the co-op stuff.
not everyone flying out for the movie, so I don't know how even it is. I don't know about that stuff, but what I am intrigued with and a little iffy with is something that we've had for other movies like My Dead Friend Zoe. That's going to be used by the military. And this is going to be used by the prisons. And there's an iffiness in there where at what point does it become the tool that the perpetrators are allowed to use as like, see, there's some programs, come get your 3 square meals a day.
Yeah, no.
But what he's doing, and I want to believe that the heart that they have in it, that when they call a producer to come over, it's because they have that producer there for a reason also.
Exactly.
And some of the things that they're doing already in like there's already planned screenings of this at New York correctional facilities. It's going to be available on.
It'll be easier for them to see it than it was for
us to see it, you know, and them being able to push for those, because I feel like these types of programs aren't existing because the prisons are letting them. It's because people are fighting for them.
Right,
exactly. And you brought up Daughters, which was an incredible movie that also focused on that and how they only have the program because they can exploit. Oh, you want to call your father? Sure. Let's nickel and dime you for everything. And
the American prison system obviously is not really about the idea of rehabilitation, especially where there's so many for-profit. Yeah, that's free work. There's so many for-profit systems that's a very interesting relationship that most people don't care or want to engage about the idea of rehabilitation, especially when like there's people that are in prison for either things they didn't do or like because they got caught with a little bit too much weed 20 years ago.
Right. Didn't we have somebody at the screening who said I was in jail?
No, knew one of them. Did she say she was in jail? I thought she said she knew
one of them.
She knew one of the people in the movie. I think JJ? JJ. Yeah, so, and just, you know, telling the story. And, you know, obviously I feel like obviously no one's going to say that there aren't certain crimes. So like, no, you did it. You're going to be in jail forever. It doesn't mean you need to be tortured, but you're there. But like for the most part, rehabilitation should always be the aim because eventually these people are going to leave prison. And would you like them to have high?
They will be your neighbor eventually.
Do you want the recidivism rate, or do you want people becoming like solid, good, you know, members of society that like you know are happy in their lives and productive and good? Because that should be the aim.
You didn't see it as a trust the process, trust the system type of movie?
Sometimes I didn't.
Through line of a line.
I didn't love. Like I didn't hate the movie. I didn't love the movie.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, there's some ways in which it's sort of has it a little bit both ways, right? Like I think there's something.
And I think I felt some of that.
I think there's something to also Colman's character being innocent that I wish I don't know if that helps the message of the movie.
He's mostly innocent. He's not guilty of the murder. He is guilty of the drug trafficking, the gun charges, but he shouldn't be in the prison that he's in.
True.
And Daughters was a really interesting approach because they never even told you.
They don't tell you
what they did, which is again why that documentary is a stand-up. But I agree with you that kind of helps it out. The movie does do a lot of things that it shouldn't. Without getting into too much spoilers, there are characters who are chosen for scenes when it should be probably those characters' family members.
I agree.
But as a movie, the director knows that the viewer only knows the connection between those two.
You need the follow through.
Hey, look, I would hate that in a bunch of other ones. It kind of worked for me here.
It got me here.
It did because that's the point.
You can see the strings being pulled, but it's a good show.
And that's where I'm iffy because it's those same strings that are being pulled that gets you to be the negative side that this movie's arguing against. It's still strings, but that's how they roll it out is going to be very important. But I am all in on Domingo and this being one of the standout roles that he has had, even if it doesn't cultivate into a win. More roles for him. Stuff that's bigger than
fantastic.
And I think they're going to have a good rollout with this because again, winning the buzz screening, having all that out of TIFF.
Yeah, it is really good. It is really good.
I was happy we caught it.
Yeah, me too. Very happy we caught it.
Yeah, definitely happy we caught it. I think a lot of people are really going to respond to it. I'm rooting for this movie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hopeful that this movie will have an impact, will transcend in some way.
You like Ghostlight more?
Actually, I think I like this one a little bit more.
Oh, just a little bit? Okay, I was about to say because Ghostlight was another one where they were getting that bad.
I do like Ghostlight. You might be right.
Actually, I think
I do like
Ghostlight had some sequences. To me, I think
it's a good comparison.
His performance is just ahead over here. But Ghostlight got into pockets that...
Yeah, I'm going to say performance goes to Domingo, obviously, but I do think I just prefer how Ghostlight's engaging with what it's engaging with.
It's all a therapy year.
Yeah, if you're not going to go to therapy, at least
watch these movies.
We said a lot about how great Colman Domingo is. We said a lot about how great
the
non-actors are. Let's talk at least briefly. Paul Raci.
Always, bro.
So good. I mean, The Sound of Metal obviously was there. I think he recently kind of got on a lot of people's radars, but he adds a lot of like humor and pathos and just he. I think one of the things that's so good is like he and Colman have this real ability to just blend.
Yeah.
And they don't.
25, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They don't feel like the the professional actor, the known actors being inserted. They feel like of the world.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
best part with Raci is knowing when to just not do something. There was so many moments where I'm like, you're about to get punched in the face if you give that man another direction.
Yep.
And Coleman's like, brother, I got this.
Let me
Hold on.
get this. And then I think he's going to get punched in the face, you know?
Yeah, but it's so good.
I kind of wanted it to escalate at some point.
I thought it was good to not have it escalate because, one, you're saving it for a big sequence that Coleman's building up to.
Right.
And then the second one is that I don't think that was the point of the movie to show you violence. It was to show you how you can de-escalate violence.
That's fair.
And I
get
think
that.
of that documentary, All My Sons, where your boy, you know the director.
Bing Liu?
Yeah, from Mind the Gap.
Yes.
When he made All Our Sons, it was a documentary about all of the people who come from gangs who are like, I don't care. I know you hurt somebody. I'm going to get you back. And it was this idea of like, when do you do that apartheid, like just bygones be bygones?
Yeah.
This was a good version of showing how this theater was getting people in tune to their emotions. How could they push you to the edge, but you don't cross that line? And again, that guy who I was mentioning who says the realities bit, like, I don't know where he tapped into.
He was my favorite.
You know?
He was so good.
And then the guy talking about his dog at the end. It's just these moments where I agree. Maybe the whole movie you're just like, okay, are they going to get the production done? Do we even care if they get the production done? I don't know when they're going to get the production done because now they're asking for money.
Yeah, I know, right?
It was the pockets of these moments that these actors were bringing in that I found to be beautiful because they were all little exercises in just, hey, think of this another way. This is not the approach you want to take. Be in tune with your emotions. And it's not acting to lie. It's acting to figure out who you are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was a squirrel. I was pointing at the squirrel.
Nice.
Yeah, I ultimately went 3.5 on my letterbox, but it's got a 5-star performance in there.
Yeah, I think I'm going 4.
Don't know yet.
Shouldn't know yet.
But yeah.
But it was. I think it's
I
solid.
still think we all are recommending it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comes out
absolutely.
midsummer, I think,
I
around
think they
there.
said June.
Yeah,
June? So a
something
little
like that.
earlier, but
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the performance there. Like I said, when I heard original song, I'm like, oh, you guys have the whole campaign
They're
ready.
ready.
I
They're
gotcha.
ready.
But it's a solid movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Curious to see what more people think about it.
Yeah.